welcome to Music She Missed, the podcast where I try to get my best friend caught up with some of the most popular songs and artists that impact our lives. I'm Alison.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I missed all the music.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Alison.
Are you ready for this week?
I am. I always have fun with you.
So, my tangentially related to music question for this week is, what gives you the creeps?
Oh. Spiders.
Oh, really?
I hate spiders. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like so small of a spider that you can see under a microscope, but I hate them. Like, I will scream bloody murder, and I fear I'm giving this fear to my daughter because she now does not like spiders either. And I'm to a point where I don't like spiders so much that if there is a real life kind of picture of a spider on a book page, I've got to quickly turn the page. Like, I can't even look at them. And yeah, if I find one in my house, I do actually think about burning them down.
Okay,
the house.
So you're really anti-spider. Okay.
Now, I can take mice, I can take reptiles. I'm not the biggest fan of reptiles, but spiders, that's my thing.
Okay, well, there are no spiders in this band, so.
Thank you. I was about to say, I was like, yeah, we're not going to have a good week, and I'm going to skip this week because of how much I fear spiders.
I only asked what gives you the creeps.
I'm starting to shiver right now.
Stop thinking about spiders.
I'm starting to shiver.
I asked you what gives you the creeps because they have a song called Creep.
I have no idea who this band is.
Okay, good. So that didn't give it away.
Yeah, because I won't lie to you. Last week, I did guess.
Right.
This week, no.
I had a feeling like you wouldn't have been able to guess, even if I told you 10 of their songs. But
interesting.
Let's find out. Are you ready for the big reveal?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Drum roll. Radiohead.
Oh, I had an ex-boyfriend that liked this group.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And obviously, I'm not a big fan of my ex-boyfriend.
Right.
And I think he tried to get me to listen to him, but I don't know if I ever did.
Well, but he's not as cool as I am.
Okay, so that's true.
Let's
Very true.
Ignore him.
Yes, ignore him.
On the fact
ignore the spiders. Ignore the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and focus on the fact that I am now going to be introducing you to Radiohead. So it's possible that you've had some exposure.
Creeps? Yeah.
Just Creep.
Oh, it's just Creep. Yeah. It's not Creeps.
No.
Okay.
So that's a valid guess. But can you name any other songs by Radiohead? Or do you know anything about Radiohead? Does an image come into your mind?
My ex-boyfriend and spiders.
Okay. Well, I will list some songs that are some of the more popular hits.
Okay. From
Radiohead, and you can tell me if maybe this sounds familiar to you. High and Dry.
Pass.
Paranoid Android.
Pass.
Isn't that a cool name, though?
That is a cool name, though.
Karma Police.
Pass. Another cool name, though.
Everything in Its Right Place.
Ooh, I like that song, but I don't know any of that song. I just like I just like the title of it.
Oh, okay.
Because
I was like, no.
Wait a second. I like everything in its own place and be organized and things like that. But yeah, I had never heard that song. Okay. But I think that's going to be my favorite song.
We will see. Fake Plastic Trees.
Like in Dr. Seuss?
It's just the name of the song. Fake Plastic Trees.
Okay. Pass.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is all a pass. Where I End and You Begin.
That's a nice song. I
that
have
you've
never heard
before. Okay. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Am I going to like this week?
I don't know.
Well, I'm just
before we find out, I need you to rate your current knowledge of the band Radiohead. 1 being that you didn't know they were a band or anything, and 10 being they're your favorite.
So, I think they're rock and roll. Well, I think they're just rock.
Okay.
I think they're male singers.
Okay.
Male band members. No female band member. I think they're from America.
Okay.
I think they're
These are all guesses.
Yeah, I think they're from the West Coast.
Okay.
Am I even close to being right?
We'll find out after the break.
So because of that, I think I'm going to say 1.
Well, you did know they were a band.
Yes.
So it's not a true one.
Yeah, it's maybe a 0.5.
All right, 1.5 for your current knowledge of Radiohead.
No, 0.5.
Oh.
I'm going a little bit lower than
Okay. So you will have some homework
this
week. Why don't you share about it?
So Alison has created about 1 hour to maybe 1 hour and 20 minutes worth
not that long
of music on our Spotify account. So feel free to follow with me and listen with me.
At Spotify, music she missed. Please follow it so you don't have to hear us tell you every time what it is.
And then I listen to it for about an hour and 20 minutes per day for about 7 days. And then after the 7 days, we get to come back and you get to listen to part 2. Though it's been 1 week for me, it's just going to be a few seconds for you all.
Yeah, and we have a very special announcement before we go to break. After the break, we are going to have joining us a special guest host.
I hope it's not my ex-boyfriend.
It's not. It's actually my husband's priest.
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
So, Father Photius will be joining us just after the break because he loves this band and he's very excited to talk with you about them.
Cool. Well, bring them on. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to this week and listening to Radiohead and not thinking about my ex-boyfriend and not thinking about spiders.
Okay. See you after the break.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. Rachel, you spent the last week listening to Radiohead, and joining us here in our studio is Father Photius. Hi, Father. Welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I think this is wonderful.
Awesome. I'm glad you think it's wonderful.
Well, we would like to just jump right in talking about Radiohead. Rachel, one of your biggest questions that you sent me as you were listening to the playlist throughout the week was...
I think why this group, why is this your thing? Is this really a big love or semi-love? Or where's your love passion on it?
Yes. Well, speaking for myself, I would say Radiohead are among my favorite of musical acts, and quite dear to me, quite pivotal as far as my love for music is concerned. So they're definitely high up on the list. It's not like, oh yeah, I heard that and I liked that.
Okay.
I have all the records. So.
Right, and you got into them really young.
I did.
Like what's young? Like 4?
4? Oh, no,
they weren't around when we were.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No. You too was around when I was 4. Radiohead comes out with their first single, Creep, whenever I was in the 8th grade. And so that was the first time I heard them.
Oh, I was still listening to like Disney princess songs.
There's no shame in that, honestly.
I was only listening to the Beatles in 8th grade.
God bless you for that. God reward you.
He has so far.
Good.
But the band, historically, right, they actually formed in the 80s as high schoolers.
Yeah.
They were in high school.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the first song that I heard, they were in high school when they recorded that?
No.
Oh. Wow, that was simultaneously. That was a definite no. Okay.
They played together for years before they had a recording contract, before they released a single.
Took a while for them to get a record deal, and
What's a while?
Well, they start up in the late 80s, between 87 and 88, and they don't have a record contract until roughly 1993. So that is a while.
Years.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I'm sure you know this, Father, that their original name was not Radiohead.
Yes.
Really?
I'm
What
sure.
was it?
Actually, I forgot what the original name was. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I spent all week reading bios
Big
of Radiohead.
fan that I am. I didn't know what the original name was.
Well, it was called On a Friday because it was Fridays when they would meet in their school to practice. And the label was like, that's not a good name.
Yeah.
So they made them change it.
Cool.
Radiohead. So where did they get the name Radiohead? They just like the radio and they have heads, or... Well, they have to have heads.
From a Talking Heads song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Talking Heads.
David Byrne and the Talking Heads.
Talking Heads is a group?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know.
An 80s new wave group. David Byrne, big influence for them.
Yeah,
And,
I don't know who they were.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Well, it's okay. So let's talk about there's 5 guys in Radiohead.
So they're all guys. There were
Yes.
no ladies. I was right on that.
Very good.
But they're not from America or the West Coast.
Oh,
I apologize for my phone going off.
you are forgiven for that.
I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. I apologize. That was rather churlish of me to not mute my phone. No, Radiohead is actually from the UK.
Yeah.
So.
Really, I could not catch their British accent.
It's because it's a lot of really vague syllables that are hard to understand. I don't know if
Tom York's vocal style is altogether unique.
And
so
that's
Tom York is
the singer.
Yeah.
And he's the only singer? Because
Yes.
I was trying to, when I was
the lead
listening,
vocal.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear another singer in it. Okay, so it's only Tom.
Yeah.
Right. 2 of the other members are brothers, Johnny and Colin Greenwood.
That's nice. Brothers are friends.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the other 2 members are Ed O'Brien and Phil Selway.
Okay, and they're just friends.
Yes, all from school or right thereabouts.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you help me out on the genre part?
Sure.
What do you mean by that, Rachel?
Like, are they grunge? Are they rock and roll? Are they pop? No, they're not pop. They're not country.
Well.
At least I'm working on that one.
It's that's a very good question. When they first make their appearance, as far as top 40 radio is concerned, the single "Creep" appears against the backdrop of Nirvana, Sponge, Alice in Chains. So the grunge thing is really big, and in so many ways, that first single kind of blends in with all of that.
Right. If they had not evolved as musicians, it could have stayed like a one-hit wonder. It could have just been one of a myriad of early 90s grungy, angsty rock.
So the Creep song is categorized as grunge, but their other songs are not categorized as grunge?
No. Definitely not. The album that Creep comes from, Pablo Honey, is a good record. And I have friends who are Radiohead fans who will challenge me with that and say,
I think some of the members of Radiohead might challenge
no, even they. Well, I mean, they refuse to play the song "Creep," to this day.
Right.
That's the one that they got top 40 though.
Well, and the one that they're probably most famous for, even still.
Yeah.
And they don't want to play it.
And they kind of resent that. After that particular album, in '95, they come out with The Bends, which takes this hard right turn into something altogether different. It's still very guitar oriented, but it no longer has the characteristic, hard rock or, grunge sound. The musicality is more complex.
And that's the acoustic stuff.
And it's where High and Dry, that song is on.
Yes, I like that
it's
song.
It's more sophisticated.
Far more
I
sophisticated.
like that song.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about
Yes,
that song?
I want to
Yes.
talk
We're
about
talking
that
about the
song.
Bends?
I'm
Absolutely.
happy with that song.
So what made you, because, like we were talking about genres, there's a lot of different songs on here of many different styles. What made you choose High and Dry as the one that stood out to you as your favorite?
I like it because the acoustic, I'm a big fan of just acoustic guitar unplugged instead of the whole wailing part that I kind of got from, what was that one song that I just had that ending of the wailing.
Well, they're on the same album.
They are on the same album.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
It talking about the diversity of sound for Radiohead. So yes, they're on the same record.
Yeah.
I just liked the high and dry of the lyrics. I liked how they delivered it. I thought I saw that there was thought process in the delivery.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was very artistic. I thought that was very genius of them.
Yeah.
That was why I like that song. And then also I like their lyrics. I like what the meaning of that song
Oh,
was.
yes.
Well, what do you think the meaning... So Father Photius, before being a priest, was an English teacher, right? So he's all about analyzing these lyrics.
Literature.
And so let's discuss these lyrics. What do they mean to you?
For me, I think the artist is talking about how he longs for commitment. He longs for someone to follow through. And when you don't follow through, you kind of leave him hanging. You leave him high and dry. You leave him in a place where it's not edifying for himself. It's not edifying for maybe other people around him. And so he's like, you know what? If you're going to leave me high and dry, then these are the consequences in our friendship, our relationship of what if it was. And so my question for you that I couldn't figure out in the lyrics, is it a romantic song to kind of like challenge that, romantic interests? Or is it more of a challenge and, hey, if you want to be bro friends with me, you got to follow through?
No, that's a great question. The song in so many ways I perceive as being introspective. Tom York said that when writing the song, he wanted it to be kind of like an old Rod Stewart song.
Who's Rod Stewart?
That's okay.
Again,
UK pop star
Okay.
From the 60s and 70s and 80s, and
Still.
it's okay. He's sang with a group called The Faces.
It's another episode.
That's another episode. A lot of Rod Stewart's subject matter, kind of deals with youth and rambunctiousness and things like that. And I think what we have here in High and Dry is kind of the regrets of maturity. The dreams and rambunctiousness of youth. Kind of, bleeding over into maturity, and, those kinds of mistakes prompting relationship difficulties.
So are you saying when he says, for example, in the first verse, I bet you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy? Is he almost talking to himself?
Yes.
Like a child, like a younger, immature version.
I would say absolutely that's the case.
And so in his lyrics, he's talking to the masses, not to one individual relationship or romantic relationship.
Well, it's a conversation I really believe he's having with himself, and we're supposed to look into that conversation
and get edified from that.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, that really makes me like the song a little bit more, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Makes me want to go back and listen to it. So I want to be honest, I didn't watch the music video of that song.
That's okay.
So my question to you is, what do you think about the music video? And would you kind of give me I liked it, I didn't like it?
I love the music video, but I have a tendency to like most of their music videos.
You are a fan of Radiohead.
They're artfully done, as far as relationship to the subject matter, I don't know that the video does a one-to-one correlation with that. I think more than anything, it kind of preserves some of the emotional content of the song overall, but it's a good video.
Huh.
So we should leave the bends behind, because what I'm itching to get to is my favorite album.
And mine.
Probably most Radiohead fans, I would say, is OK Computer. When I first made this playlist for you, it was pretty much like Creep and then all of OK Computer.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing the playlist. It was like, it was really heavy on the OK Computers. So.
Because to me that album is just really timeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
But since Father helped me get the playlist a little bit more spanning their full career, yeah. So, OK Computer, which came out in 1997, is what brought them to international fame. So, because America was pretty much ignoring Radiohead up until this point.
So they were just
British.
in the UK. Okay.
Yeah. But, it's more avant-garde, it's more electronic, but it was also highly critically acclaimed, and it did win the Grammy for Best Alternative Music Album that year, and was nominated for Best Album. And it remains on many people's best albums ever list.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you're making a face like you do not understand why, or you are dubious.
Well, I think one of the things that I'm really finding in myself as we're continuing to do Music She Missed podcast, I'm really trying to find out what is my likes and dislikes, and where I'm okay with not listening to the top 40 and not letting the Radiohead
Sure.
kind of dictate, oh, Rachel, you're supposed to like this. Oh,
Yeah.
Rachel, you're supposed to
I'm
like
not saying
that.
you have to.
But, and so after listening to Radiohead, and specifically this album, certain songs from this album, High and Dry was really my only song from Radiohead that I overall loved. Now, there's some other songs from Radiohead that I was like, I like this part of the song, but didn't like this part of the song.
And I feel that happened to you a lot on OK Computer because the songs are longer and they have several different segments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
The composition style for OK Computer is markedly different.
Right. I was hoping, Father, you could talk a little bit more about what makes OK Computer different musically.
Musically, OK Computer stands head and shoulders above, their previous work, Pablo Honey and the Bends. It's just the sonic landscapes that are created in OK Computer. Really, nothing like it had been done either, I would say by them or indeed anyone else musically.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Anyone else.
That's a big statement.
There have been comparisons drawn to Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
I remember.
We haven't done Pink Floyd yet. So
okay. All right.
I know who Diana Ross is, and I know Diana Ross
well, she
is
didn't
not
sing for Pink Floyd.
Radiohead.
The comparisons have been drawn to Pink Floyd. I remember. I think Bono said, Radiohead are the Pink Floyd of the 90s, to which I opined, no, Pink Floyd are the Pink Floyd of the 90s. Radiohead is Radiohead. And so, that's just, me. But just sonically, it achieves, new levels. It's far more complex. It's far more textured. It has.
That's a good word, textured. Describing this album.
Has warmth in places and it has coldness in places, and you are meant to feel that warmth and that coldness, as you experience the songs. Those sounds contribute, that they interweave with the lyrical content, and create something just truly unique.
And the album itself is meant to be heard as a whole. I mean, it's a conceptual album.
It's like one of those Beatles albums where you have to really listen to the whole album to really grasp.
Yeah. The Beatles are one of many, many bands that influenced Radiohead, for sure.
Yeah.
So, that's why I think when I tried to make the playlist and I put so much of OK Computer on it is because I was like, well, you have to listen to all of these different songs to appreciate.
I can understand.
I kind of want to go back and give it another try.
How did you feel about Paranoid Android? Just out of curiosity.
Actually, so I was questioning if I was going to put that in the like pile.
Or the dislike pile?
It took me about 3 or 4 days to figure out, is it staying in the like pile, but I actually took it off.
Okay.
Because I discovered I only liked the beginning. And the beginning part of that specific song was, yes, I started off really great. I'm really digging this tune. I'm digging the lyrics. I'm digging their delivery, their texture, good term. But by the end, I was like, not wanting to push skip or anything like that, but I was like, I wasn't there.
Interestingly enough, that song was composed from parts of 3 separate songs that they wrote, and they decided ultimately to weave them together. So the various movements in them.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, that's actually okay.
That does make sense.
The middle sort of rock part, with the electric guitar, and the drums really coming in. That was actually originally written as a separate song. And then the end part, which is quite slow and quite morose. But
I like that part. I like the part
I
where
do
it's
too.
where it's going down in half steps.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That little thing.
No, for me that makes it.
That's my favorite part too.
So high five.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay!
Any other comments on that, Rachel?
Karma Police, Fake Plastic Trees are from that album, correct?
Fake Plastic Trees is from the Bends.
Okay, gotcha. But Karma Police is.
Yes.
Okay.
And No Surprises.
Yes.
Okay.
I was curious what you thought about No Surprises. Are you having difficulty remembering that one?
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a lullaby in terms of its little lilting, like it's like a chime. What is that little? Or is it just a guitar that they've really?
No, the opening part is actually a guitar on a clean and bright channel.
Okay.
But there are glockenspiel.
Is that what it is?
Put in there with it, but it does have a lullaby quality to it.
Right.
You know, the opening line. You know, a heart that's full up like a landfill, a job that slowly kills you.
So what's so funny about that song? So Rachel knows that I don't really listen to lyrics of songs.
Well, I'm more into the
She
lyrics.
is very
I'm into lyrics, and but I'm also into the music.
Well,
so
I listened to No Surprises like a million times before somebody was like, that song's really depressing, right? And I was like,
it is.
Oh.
It is.
So I was curious if you had looked into that one.
So not specifically that one. Sorry.
Okay.
I guess
it's just
no
about,
surprises.
boring suburban life and wanting to kill yourself. That's all.
I guess I like the music part, but I didn't look into the lyrics for that one.
Okay.
So, but I do want to talk about Karma Police.
Oh, let's
talk about that one. So the ending, help me out on that one.
All right.
It's not that I didn't like the beginning, but I really didn't like the ending.
Interesting.
Tell me why you like the ending, because maybe I will switch it a little bit.
For our audience, we're talking about the part where it almost sounds like radio waves or something, or it's like
for a minute I lost myself,
right.
and
it like increases
and
distortion,
and then we get lost in those sort of AM sounding radio waves. Mm-hmm. You're meant to experience that as well. You're supposed to
feeling lost.
That you're supposed to feel overwhelmed, and with the song, whereas you started upright, you're meant to be on your side. You're supposed to be knocked over by the end of it.
Do you think that
why do they want to do that to their listeners?
Do you think that there's like a thing about karma in that? Like he's saying and this is what you get. Like you have to listen to this. Like
it's certainly possible.
Atonal, weird.
Yeah. Tom York, also has a habit of being tongue in cheek. And there are times when he just he likes the sound of a certain phrase, and how it works or whatever. So I don't read too much into that one particularly. I think there's a good deal of kind of fun with language going on, not dissimilar to Bob Dylan with Highway 61 Revisited, where
don't know Bob Dylan.
It's okay.
You met him.
Oh yeah,
but you don't know any of his
music. You met him?
Well,
we should totally save this for another episode.
Oh my gosh.
But it is distressing.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
just a person.
I gotta hear
all of these are just people.
They are.
Just
They are.
Award-winning Nobel
Prize winner.
People.
Well,
but there's some playfulness going on in Karma Police, lyrically, and we're supposed to engage in that, but we're also supposed to be knocked over at the end.
So OK Computer is really important in this new shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
this is 97?
Yes.
Yeah.
97. Okay.
So, but they have lots more albums because they have 9 albums. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna kind of flip through some of them so we can get to another big point.
Very good.
In 2000, Kid A, which was not very commercial. It was the first Radiohead album that I owned.
Okay.
Because I was in high school at the time, so that was the right time to get a Radiohead album. But I liked a couple of the songs on it, which are pretty much the same ones that are on the playlist and that
of course
you liked.
Yes, that I loved. Yes.
But the not a very commercial album. Is some of Radiohead to me is not always accessible.
Huh.
It's not. But
they're all on Spotify.
They are.
Yes. They are. I mean accessible emotionally.
Emotionally.
Well, I'm just what'd you have to do to find this? These songs to put in this playlist?
No, I just mean listening to them and not being able to connect with them necessarily.
I remember kind of scratching my head the first time I put Kid A in, because I was expecting them to kind of ride on the momentum of OK Computer and you know, kind of, you know, continue in that direction. I was all, you know, stoked and ready for that, and I put in Kid A, and I'm hearing, you know, these weird kind of analog synthesizer based songs,
electronic,
and I'm just like, where are the guitars?
So let me ask about that, the synthesizers, the guitars and stuff like that. So we talked about a couple bands before and how they would do a lot of their magic in the recording studio area.
Yes.
Now, did they do their magic in the recording studio, or is this all just like with their fingers on the guitar? I don't.
They keep it real, as it were.
You can perform the songs perform live.
Yeah. They perform all the songs live. That they don't make use of sequencers or anything like that. You know, that they use these vintage instruments. You know, analog synthesizers, mellotrons, which are just notoriously and ridiculously expensive. And
Is that the things that when the guitarists are standing there, they push a button with their toes and their feet?
No, those would be the effects pedals. Those are pretty widely accessible to guitar players. But they make a habit of you know, having a solid live performance, which, you know, very closely follows what it is that they recorded.
Wow, that's talent.
It is.
That kind of shifts me a little bit in my view of Radiohead. That's a lot of talent.
One of the things that I listened to an interview of Tom York on Fresh Air, an old interview, in preparation for this, and he was talking about how the song Idiotech, which is from the album Today, that Johnny, another of the band members, right, brought him this like hour-long musical electronic thing, and he listened to it, and there were like 45 seconds in there that caught his ear, and that's what became Idiotech. And I was like,
45 seconds out of that whole long hour.
And he picked out that and turned that into that song. But during that time, like in between OK Computer and Kid A, you know, they as a band were trying to decide what direction they were going to go. Are they going to go rock? Are they going to go weird? Like, what are they going to do? Tom York was having like some writer's block issues and things like that. So Kid A is a little. And I feel like it's like you love it or you hate it.
Well, and for me, Kid A, I know it's a brave move, but it's one which, in my less than humble opinion, works. You know, they had the ability to really kind of milk the cash cow, as it were, but by continuing in the same line of OK Computer and producing more music like that, and then they take this other hard right turn, you know, in it musically into a completely different territory, and one which is awkward, but it works. It works, and and Kid A and Amnesiac,
which came out the following year.
And they were recorded in the same sessions. Those two albums.
Really?
They were recorded in the same sessions.
So they just recorded back to back and they just went on through.
Yeah, well, they recorded all the songs. These are going into Kid A. These are going into Amnesiac.
Right.
Okay.
But we want to move forward because we have another right turn that isn't so much about music as it is about the music industry.
Yes.
So they had Hail to the Thief, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then in 2007, they came out with an album called In Rainbows. And what they did was they were always ahead of their time. Like, they were one of the first bands to even have a website at all.
Oh yeah.
But but for this album, because at this point, like, if you remember the early 2000s, there was Napster. There were all of these ways to get music for free. Right? And lots of people, stealing music, downloading music, whatever.
Yes, our college years.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And so, and that was really messing with the music industry.
Did they like it or not like it?
Well, they actually, Father, why don't you talk about
Well, there was certainly a wide range of opinions as far as all that was concerned. Radiohead took a lead from it, that this is a way to perhaps stimulate interest. It's and I don't recall them coming down hard on one side of the debate, one way or the other. I know Metallica were dead set against it. This is piracy, and it's okay. It's okay.
FYI,
it's okay. And ultimately, the court and the industry sided with Metallica and said,
and that's why all the laws are now
exactly.
Right. But what Radiohead did was release their album because they knew people were gonna download it
steal them anyways. Yeah.
So they released it. From them and said, here's our album, pay whatever you want.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
And
so pay what you like.
They were the only band that did this at this time?
Yeah.
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 Wow, that's generous. And so did they lose money?
They actually made more money personally. I mean, most people still didn't pay for the album, but the average that that it costs, like if you took everybody that downloaded it, they ended up getting like $8 an album or whatever.
Okay.
Later.
2007.
So, but because they weren't going through the middleman and blah, 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 they ended up making more money.
Yeah.
Personally.
Which, as far as the business move is concerned, was incredibly risky, but it also worked for them because of their fan base, because of their loyal fan base.
So this was albums 8 or 9 at this point, or 7 or 6. So it's like more of their halfway point where they've gotten their fan base, they know who loves them, and they're like, you know what? We know that they're going to continue to love us. Yeah. And so we're going to take this risk. But that is such a huge risk. That kind of makes me change a little bit on them too. Huh.
Well, and one of the reasons why I wanted you to hear this band is because they could have just been
a one-hit wonder.
And instead, they've evolved and survived with creativity, constant creativity, and change and risk taking.
Well, there are some bands who just explode onto the scene, and they're going to be great. Okay, the Beatles, case in point.
So
the Beatles come out and they are just an instant phenomenon, and they have staying power. And there are other groups who kind of grow into greatness. And Radiohead is certainly one of those, who grow into it, who adapt, and become smarter.
But one of the things that keeps them interesting, I think that helps, is that their musical influences are from a lot of different places.
Oh yeah.
And Father, we can just kind of shout bands, and Rachel, you'll say, "Who's that?" But we already mentioned Pink Floyd and the Beatles, of course.
Yes,
I know who the Beatles are.
And we mentioned U2, but there were a lot of other.
I know who that is.
Very good.
Yeah, we started with those.
Very good.
But Elvis Costello, Joy Division, REM, the Pixies, which is a big band for a lot of 90s bands.
One of my personal favorites.
Really?
So,
and we will do them
I don't
eventually.
know who they are.
That's okay.
But they also draw from jazz and draw from classical, especially like contemporary classical.
I heard that classical part in the acoustic guitar, and I think that's one of the reasons why I did like the acoustic.
But you can hear hints of Charlie Mingus. In Kid A, like with the national anthem, it's like, okay, those are Mingus horns right there, and so, pretty cool.
I mean, hip hop, MIA. I mean, you can, they don't only listen to one type of music, and so you can see those influences coming from.
And so, as they're being influenced by so many different aspects, their genre really can't stay to one. Is that a true statement?
Right.
Yeah. Well, because they're dealing with a much larger sonic palette. They really haven't limited themselves. And
have other people tried to categorize them?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the music industry is always interested in that. It's like, well, buy this rock album.
Yeah.
Buy
this
this pop album. This is alternative rock.
Right.
And so, and there's just no real safe way to do that. You can use the umbrella heading of rock for them, but there's also pop, and there's also post rock in there, and then there are electronic and jazz and everything in between, so you really can't label them
or put them in a box
them in a box.
And I think that was for me being Not a box lover.
You are a little bit of a box lover.
Okay, I'm a box lover.
It's okay. It's okay to be a box lover. That's okay.
Where by the end of the, I would say not by the end of the week. It was probably around day 3 to 4, where I was just like, okay, I've given my chances. I've figured out this, and that. But I'm like, I'm still trying to categorize them, and I couldn't.
And you can't.
And that was
can't.
just very frustrating personally for me.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And so that's why, like, even now I'm still coming in. Do I like this group? Do I not like this group? But there's so much that I've learned within the past, 10 minutes. And I'm like, ooh, that is so cool that they gave their music away and said, hey, customers, you pick the price.
Exactly.
And I thought that was
It's a trend that they continued. I mean,
Oh, wow. Do other people do it now?
Well, I know that in, for example, 2009, Trent Reznor recorded an album, The Slip, and he didn't do the, pay what you want to. He actually just gave it away. He put it up on the Nine Inch Nails website and said, "This one's on me, guys." And so
you too did it also, and everybody got their album for free on their phones.
Yeah,
Do you remember
some
that?
people complaining
But
about
then people didn't like it.
Yeah, and then you said
what's this
Apple.
album doing on my
Because they just
iPhone?
automatically
Because it
chose
was
it. It wasn't
automatically
like a
downloaded.
choice
Yeah.
of the download.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good time, Rachel, for us to transition, I think, into your thoughts about Radiohead. And unless you have any more questions for Father, how you would rate them on a scale of 1 to 10.
I have one other question.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
So, 2007, that means they're around now, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So, do they plan to continue to produce more albums? Do they plan to continue to venture into other avenues? Have you kind of heard interviews of them of where they're like, ooh, we're giving you hints of where they're going to go next?
Well, a new album just came out in 2016.
Okay.
And they're on tour with that album right now, playing at Coachella.
They're playing, they're playing some festivals, as well as headlining, their own shows, and so they're still in it,
And they're successful.
and they're keeping us guessing, and so it's wonderful.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm ready to kind of rate.
Okay.
There's
1 is throw it in the garbage.
Throw in the garbage. 10,
favorite?
it's my new favorite. So I'm gonna be honest. I can't give it a 10, but I can't also give it a 1.
Well,
Okay.
So
Well, that does leave us
other
with
numbers.
there's
Yeah.
8 other numbers where I think I'm just gonna go 5.
Okay.
I don't want to completely say I don't like it because there are some things that I've really enjoyed. I liked the high and dry lyrics. I liked how they were communicating with their fans by saying, "Hey, we love you, you love us," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I think 5 is good, and I think what I like about the 5, which is kind of like I don't know if I like it or not answer,
It is
that it leaves you open to, as you hear more of Radiohead. It took me a long time to appreciate them because, like I said before, it's not easy music and it's not in the box music. So it might take you more than your 7 days of 1 hour a day to decide what you really think about Radiohead, and that's okay.
And that's what I think I text messaged you, I think on day 5. I was like, Allison, I think I need more than a week. I think there's some bands out there.
Honestly,
I need more than a week. And I feel like Radiohead was part of it.
Yeah.
Where now, even learning more, I kind of want to go back to listen to that whole album together and things like that.
Well, I think if you want to go back and listen to it, that's a good sign.
And that's why I wanted to give it a 5 versus a 4, because I wasn't a fan of the wailing of the guitar, especially at the end of Karma Police, and
Well, thank you so much, Father, for joining us and lending your love for Radiohead and your expertise about the band to our discussion.
I had a lot of fun, and I hope you come back for another group or something like that.
He is.
Oh, really? That's cool.
I'm looking forward to it. Seriously, thank you for having me. This was just tons of fun. This is one of the great bright spots of my week, and
that's sweet of you.
So thank you for having me. I would love to come back.
Well, you are already invited.
Great.
Awesome. If you, our audience, would like to follow along with Rachel's journey, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and of course, rate us and subscribe on iTunes. You can also hear our Radiohead playlist and the playlist for all the artists that Rachel's being exposed to by searching for Spotify /user/music she missed.
Thanks so much for joining us this week, and we hope you join us next week.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.